The 1972 Philippine 10 Sentimo coin holds a fascinating place in the nation's monetary and cultural history. It belongs to the Filipino series, which was introduced in 1967 as part of the government's initiative to use the national language on its currency, replacing English text previously used. Features the portrait of Apolinario Mabini, a Filipino revolutionary leader, known as the brains of the revolution. His name is inscribed along the bottom. The word Republica ng Pilipinas, Republic of the Philippines, is written around the top. The year of minting, 1972, appears at the bottom. The reverse shows the coat of arms of the Philippines, with the sun, stars, and symbols of Spain, the U.S., and the Philippines. Below the seal is the denomination, 10 Sentimo. The 10 Sentimo coin from 1972 was made of aluminum. It is lightweight, small, and non-magnetic. 1972 was a historic and controversial year in Philippine history. President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law on September 21, 1972. Just months after this coin was released, the declaration marked a shift to authoritarian rule, and the economic and political changes of this era affected all aspects of Filipino life, including the minting and circulation of currency. The coins from this year, including the 10 Sentimo, were silently witness to a turning point in Philippine democracy. Coins like these circulated during a time of curfews, censorship, and civil unrest, but also during infrastructure building and urban development, pushed by the Marcos regime. The 1972 10 Sentimo coin is part of the government's nationalistic movement that aimed to promote the use of the Filipino language. Prior coins bore English inscriptions like Central Bank of the Philippines, but the Filipino series replaced these with Filipino terms like Republica ng Pilipinas and Banco Central ng Pilipinas. Apolinario Mabini (1864–1903), who appears on the coin, was one of the greatest intellectuals of the Philippine Revolution. Despite being paralyzed from polio, he served as the first Prime Minister and Secretary of Foreign Affairs in the First Philippine Republic. His inclusion on the 10 Sentimo coin reflects the country's respect for his ideas, independence, and integrity values. The Marcos government tried to align itself within the early years, even as political suppression grew. In the 1970s, the 10 Sentimo coin still had purchasing power. It could buy small candies, matchsticks, or be used to complete small transactions in local markets. Over time, however, inflation eroded the value of centavo-denominated coins, and the 10 Sentimo slowly faded from daily use in later decades. The coin was still commonly used until the late 1980s, when newer coin series began to phase it out. By the early 1990s, the 10 Sentimo coin had very little real-world value due to inflation. It became more of a collector's item, especially for those interested in martial law era memorabilia. While it is not rare, the 1970 to 10 Sentimo, the 197 to 10 Sentimo, was part of the Filipino coinage series, the first official coin series to use Filipino national language instead of English. This was a strong symbol of post-colonial identity, coming decades after the country gained independence from the United States in 1946. The coin was minted under the Central Bank of the Philippines, established in 1949. During this period, the bank undertook reforms to stabilize the currency and localize coin production, which had previously been outsourced abroad. Choosing Apolinario Mabini, a hero known for honesty, sacrifice, and wisdom, was not accidental. His image served as a moral symbol in a time when national politics was becoming increasingly authoritarian. The government used his image to legitimize its power and remind citizens of patriotic duty. When President Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in September 1972, the state gained full control over the economy. One aspect of this was tighter regulation of currency flow, coin production, and banking. Coins minted in 1972, including the 10 Sentimo, were part of a monetary system under centralized authority. The 10 Sentimo coin was made of aluminum, a cost-effective metal that the government chose during times of rising metal prices and limited coin budgets. Aluminum was also easy to mint in large numbers, though it lacked durability and quickly lost its shine in circulation. In 1972, 10 Sentimo coins were still widely used in rural towns and local wet markets. They were often used to practices. Most of the 1972 10 Sentimo coins were minted by the Royal Mint in the United Kingdom, as the Philippines had yet to fully develop its in-country minting capabilities. It wasn't until later years that the security plant complex in Quezon City would handle all minting locally. Public school teachers during the 1970s used actual coins, including the 10 centimo, to teach arithmetic and Filipino history. This helped children recognize national heroes like Mabini and understand currency value. By the mid-1970s, the government introduced a new set called the Engi Bagong Lipunan series, which reflected the propaganda of the Marcos regime. The 10 Sentimo coin of 1972 was among the last to carry only traditional national symbols before propaganda-influenced currency design began. Unlike some coins with mint marks or error types, the 1970 to 10 Sentimo has no variety, making it common. However, mint errors like by the late 1970s and early 1980s, high inflation had eroded the value of low-denomination coins. What could be bought with 10 centimos in 1972 would need 25 to 50 centimos just 5 years later. The 10 centimo slowly lost relevance in commerce and was used more for giving change or rounding off amounts. The coat of arms on the reverse of the coin is full of meaning. 3 stars for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The sun symbolizes liberty and freedom. Lions and eagles represent colonial influences. Spain and USA reflecting historical evolution. The 1996 Philippine 25 centimo coin is a small yet significant part of the country's rich numismatic history. Though modest in face value, it holds cultural, economic, and historical importance tied closely to the national identity and changing economic landscape of the Philippines in the 1990s. The 1996 Philippine 25 centimo coin belongs to the improved Flora and Fauna series, which was introduced in the early 1990s by the Banco Central ng Pilipinas BSP. It continued the design theme of celebrating native plants and animals of the Philippines, while improving on earlier coin features. Below it is an image of the catman, Dillenia philippinensis, a native plant known for its medicinal and ornamental value. The logo of the Banco Central ng Pilipinas BSP is featured, representing the issuing authority. Juan Luna's appearance on the coin was part of a nationalistic effort to honor heroes who played key roles in the country's struggle for independence from Spanish colonial rule. Luna's influence in art and activism had lasting effects on Filipino identity. The inclusion of flora, like the catman plant, symbolized the importance of biodiversity and the natural resources of the Philippines, promoting environmental consciousness during a decade when ecological concerns were gaining importance. In the mid-1990s, the Philippine economy was undergoing liberalization and modernization efforts under President Fidel V. Ramos. The government focused on infrastructure development, international trade expansion, and economic reforms. Coins like the 25 centimo were part of everyday life for Filipinos and symbolized the BSP's effort to maintain a robust and modern currency system. 1996. The 25 centimo coin was still actively used in small daily transactions, like jeepney fares, sari-sari store purchases, and market exchanges. However, inflation over time started reducing the real-world purchasing power of coins below 1 peso. The improved Flora and Fauna series was eventually replaced by the new BSP coin series in 1995-2000. While the 25 centimo coin remained in circulation for some time, its relevance in daily commerce slowly declined, leading to limited minting in the early 2000s and eventual withdrawal from common use. Today, the 1996 25 centimo coin is sought by collectors for its historical value rather than its monetary worth. In uncirculated or mint condition, it may be valued slightly higher than face value. Coins with minting errors or low circulation years can be of more interest in numismatic circles, though small and seemingly ordinary. The 1996 25 centimo coin represents a period of national development, artistic heritage, and environmental awareness. It serves as a cultural artifact connecting modern Filipinos to their past. Denomination 25 centimo. Before the 1996 coin, the earlier Flora and Fauna series, 1983 to 1994, had already introduced plant and animal themes into Philippine coins. However, feedback from the public and numismatists led the Banco Central ng Pilipinas to launch the improved Flora and Fauna series, which corrected the metal content, standardized design sizes, and made the coins more durable and visually distinctive. The 25 centimo of 1996 was a product of this revised series and showed greater clarity in detail and better image quality of Juan Luna and the Catman plant. Juan Luna was not only a painter, he was a symbol of revolutionary art and Filipino identity. His famous work, Spoliarium, was viewed as a metaphor for the oppression of Filipinos under Spanish colonial rule. Luna was a member of the propaganda movement, alongside José Rizal and Marcelo H. del Pilar, pushing for reforms and national pride. Placing him on the 25 Sentimo in the 1990s was a powerful reminder of the importance of culture, art, and nationalism in nation-building. The Catman Dillenia philippinensis plant was chosen for its rarity and beauty. Native to the Philippines, it produces large white flowers and sour fruit used in local recipes. Symbolically, it represents resilience of the Filipino environment, medicinal value, showcasing the role of native knowledge, ecological richness, reminding people of their natural heritage. The coin educates and informs users about native plants in a subtle, everyday way. During 1996, the Philippines was opening up to global markets. Urbanization was on the rise, and the value of money was shifting quickly. Coins like the 25 Sentimo were still in use, but their real-world value was diminishing due to inflation. End of the 1990s, however, it was becoming increasingly common to round prices up to the nearest peso, starting the decline in the coin's everyday use. The ridged edge of the coin was not just aesthetic, it helped distinguish it by touch, especially for the visually impaired, and also prevented coin clipping, a fraudulent act of shaving metal off edges, though mostly relevant for precious metal coins. During the 1990s, school children would often use 25 Sentimo coins in small school canteens or sari-sari stores. The coin became an informal tool to teach math, counting, and even national history as students asked questions about the portrait and plant. The Banco Central ng Pilipinas (BSP), rechartered in 1993 after Republic Act No. 7653, had a major role in updating the nation's currency. They aimed to align coins with the 1996 25 Sentimo was minted under this new, independent BSP charter, making it historically unique. The early 2000s, the cost of minting a 25 Sentimo coin was nearly equal to its face value. Inflation, especially in food and transportation, meant the coin no longer held practical purchasing power. Eventually, 2018, the BSP launched the new generation currency in GC coin series and denominations. Thank you for watching.